My name is Amanda Margaretha. I'm originally from South Africa, now living in Northeast Ohio, and I am an installation artist. I work mainly with spices. Let me start with I love to do installation work. When I studied art, I was really inspired by people like Anish Kapoor and Andy Goldsworthy because their work had such a profound impact. It was innovative and the colors spoke to me. So that's where I got my inspiration to be an installation artist and to work with a medium that would really address all your senses. So I lived for a long time in the Middle East, and I always would walk among the spice markets, and the people who sold those spices would pile them up in these beautiful uh, piles and arrange all the other things around it, almost like an art installation. So I always had so much joy walking in the spice market and thinking of these tables as art pieces. And that kind of brought the idea to my head, what if I used spices as an art medium and do installations with it? And I started experimenting and playing around. First, I rubbed it on the walls, and then I made piles myself. And then, as I would keep pushing forward with ideas, I finally landed on the concept of making rugs or something that looks like a rug from afar with spices. I would say I get my inspiration for spice installations from the history of spices. There's such a rich history, where it came from, how it was used, how it got transported from that country to another country, the influence it had there, its different purposes, rituals, healing, flavoring food. And I feel like it's part of the DNA of the human race. It's part of our history. We can never extract spices out of our history. And so there are so many ways you can formulate a message using spice, because spice signifies more than just flavoring food. It's about countries, colonialism, racism, slavery. All those different themes are locked up in spice. And so the message that I can communicate through spice is my big inspiration. So first, I decide what I want to say with the piece. What is there a specific country that I'm trying to reference, or a specific theme, like I was saying, colonialism, or like this one about reconciliation? So I think of the message, and then based on that, I will look at the spices that speak to that message, how I bring them together, what that message would be. If this spice signifies one thing, this one signifies one thing, and if I bring them together, what does that tell us? So I look at the spices, their history and their origins, and how they will feed into the message. And then I look at patterns. If I have a specific pattern that will also signify the message I'm trying to bring through the work, and I choose them, and then I go to the gallery with all my stuff, and I will put down a board to protect the floor of the gallery, and then on top of that board I will start to build this one layer and layer and layer until I have something that looks like a rug. This one is called One New Humanity, and it's about how different cultures from the four corners of the earth come together, flow together, converge together, and some contrast, some blend, and all that beautiful interaction creates something that we perceive as a tapestry, and that is how we as humans have functioned. We have come from the four corners of the earth, we have converged on each other, and together, if we can learn to appreciate each one's beauty and uniqueness, together we form a beautiful tapestry that is one new humanity. For this piece, I chose 10 different spices, and I chose them very strategically to cover the four continents of the globe, and those spices that cover the four continents, how they have traveled and in a sense became food commodities and the first traces of globalization. And just to use two as an example that I've used in this piece, one is pepper. Pepper was a very precious commodity in biblical times. The pepper was brought from India along the spice trade routes. The Arabs sold it to the Europeans. The Europeans initially didn't know where it came from and paid very, very expensive prices for pepper. And the Arabs basically had the monopoly on it. But then finally they figured out the mystery and the secret, and they started to send out ships, and that is what sparked the age of exploration and the formation of the East India Company. So they started to explore, and as they explored, they discovered other spices and other mediums and things that they could use to flavor their cooking. And this search led to Christopher Columbus coming to the Americas. And that brings me to the second spice, which is the chili. He, of course, ran into the Americas and went on land, didn't find pepper, but found the chili, and eventually brought it back to Europe. The Europeans didn't like it too much, it was too strong for them, and so he started to barter with the chili as he was looking for the way to India to get pepper. So the chili spice was really kind of the first global commodity that was spread all over the earth, and that now informed so many dishes around the world, from the South Americas, Latin America, Africa, of course India, and then Far Asia like China, Japan, those places. So that's just a very brief look at how we as the world have crossed the boundaries and have ran into each other due to our desire for spice.